Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Transatlantic Call-In Show. This is the show where you get to call in and ask two live, warm-blooded, farm-raised, organic-fed trans people all the questions you want about anything and everything trans-related. If you have a sibling who's trans and you have some awkward questions you can't ask them, you can call us. If you are like Pamela from our Christmas special, who maybe has some believes that, the whole transgender thing in its entirety is ridiculous, you can call us. We want to talk to you. Our number is down in it's normally down in the bottom corner of the screen. I guess that's different now. It's in the description, and I think the mods post it occasionally as well. There you go. So you can give us a call then. I am your host, Arden Hart, and with me today is the lovely... Oh, I went to the wrong side. Dr. Venus, introduce yourself.
Yeah, that's apparently my name now. No, there's a joke within the community. Somebody started calling me Venus, and I thought it was funny, so I'm keeping it going. So anyway, I am now Dr. Venus. And
Did I spell it right?
Yeah, you spelled it right. And if you vote for hashtag Team Venus or Team Dr. Venus or any variation of Venus after a hashtag, and you give a super chat of $5 or more, you can help me win today, because apparently I'm getting punished today and Arden isn't. So I would like to return the favor back to Arden, if at all possible. So everybody keep that in mind.
No hashtag, no point. We should tell people up front.
This is my first full win, so it feels pretty good, to where Ben is getting punished and I don't have to do anything. So I'm gonna definitely soak that up. But yeah, so this is the last show of the year, so I hope we get some good callers. I would love to talk to Pamela, because I was not in a sober state of mind when we talked to Pamela, and I feel like I could maybe give her a little bit more of a better conversation today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so how you doing, Ben? How you feeling?
I have senioritis big time because I finished my last exam, so now I just have busy work and I have to show up for the next few months, but I pretty much have met all the requirements to get my medical degree. So it's pretty cool. It's really weird. It's really weird to be in that spot, yeah. But I'm just riding out the rest of the year, and hopefully it won't be too slow. But at least in the meantime, I have more time to be on shows like this and to argue with transphobes on the internet. So bring your best calls, because I'm ready for this today.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. Awesome. Well, I was not here last week, but I believe you all did a poll. So if we want to bring that up, we can get into the polls, and then we'll move on to our questions, our callers. We're ready. You want to read this one out?
Yeah, Scotland just passed its gender recognition reform bill, giving more trans people equality. This took 6 years of hard work by Scottish trans people and their allies. What do you think? And 90% of people said that it was a win. 5% said, I hate equality, and 6% said, I just hate Scotland. So we have some trolls who responded to
Beautiful.
This. And yeah, I of course think that this is a great thing that happened. And Katy gave more reasons last time about exactly what went on with this, because obviously neither one of us here are from Scotland or any part of the UK, so some of the nuance might be a bit lost to us. But I did see on Twitter and other places that there is that misconception of what this reform actually did, and even not being in the area, understanding that a lot of problems people had with this were problems they actually had with the Equality Act, and this reform didn't do any of the things that the GCs were saying it did. So that's kind of the majority of the discussion that I've seen about it. I don't know, what is your take? Because you weren't here the last time that we discussed the poll.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, Americans talking about the GRA when we don't really know it, the gender recognition reform, whatever it's called. It sounds like a good thing to me. I definitely have seen, JK tweeting things about like how this is going to like enable grown men to be in the locker room with your daughter and stuff like that. And everyone's kind of being like, that's not what this is for at all. I definitely would not defer to me as an expert on who this, what exactly this does. But if you're curious, you should go check out last week's episode, because pretty sure Katy did a nice rant on it and gave you all the details. So go back and watch that episode if you're confused.
Yeah, we took a call on it last time, and it lasted pretty much the entire first half of the show was about this. So if you missed it,
Oh, wow.
you can go back and listen to that caller as well, because Katy goes into a lot more detail than we can on this episode.
Yeah, but kind of relating to this poll, since we're not going to spend too much time on this one, since neither Ben or I can really talk on this in too much depth. This week's poll that we're going to bring up is kind of expanding on that. Yeah, Ben, you want to go through this one too?
Yeah, it says, how optimistic are you about the fight for trans rights in 2023? And your options are very optimistic, cautiously optimistic, already tired, terrified, or other, and leave a comment. And my thoughts on this are kind of mixed depending on kind of what sphere of trans rights we're talking about. Of course, like in the general political sphere, I'm a bit cautious. I don't know if I'd say cautiously optimistic or like cautiously terrified, like somewhere in the middle, because I think some good things are coming down the pipeline, but also some terrifying things are coming down the pipeline. And I think maybe part of the reason why people are fighting so hard in politics to oppress trans people is because there's so much acceptance coming about as well. So I think they're starting to learn that their side isn't favorable, and they're fighting really hard. So the question is, like, are they going to be successful in continuing that, or are people going to step up and oppose it? Not that I don't know for sure. At least from the medical standpoint, we do have every major medical board and organization are opposed to the anti-trans bills. So at least from the medical side, we have a lot of advocacy coming through there. We have a lot of doctors stepping up, and we have a lot of trans people entering the medical workforce this next year. So in terms of that kind of advocacy and people being able to speak on this, I think we have some assets coming in this next year. So it's like, I can't say for sure where I think it's going. I think there's some good aspects and some scary things as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar camp. I might say, I feel like this mood for me changes by the day. As of right now, I would say cautiously optimistic is how I'm feeling. Maybe leaning a little bit more towards that than like a sort of a neutral observational kind of perspective. I mean, like, there's the gender recognition reform in Scotland. Spain also just passed a huge piece of legislation that would make it so, I think it's, you can change anyone over 16 can change their documents through just attestation alone, which is like a really big deal. That's super exciting. There was a similar bill for that in the US, though I can't remember which state it was. I think California floated SB 36, which is going to aims to protect trans refugees fleeing from discriminatory states. And there's one or two other states who are implementing similar legislation or have proposed similar legislation. But then we also have, of course, the attacks are doing their next round, right? And I think we did a poll a couple weeks ago about floating different legislation that is probably not going to work, so you can kind of find the best pathway to oppressing a group of people. And we see that happening all over. SB 14 in Missouri proposes to make it against the law to issue a correct birth certificate for a trans person. SB 16 in Utah proposes banning bottom surgery as well as top surgery and breast reduction for trans minors, but makes exceptions for intersex youth. So clearly they don't mind, genital surgery on minors, just only when it's forcing them to conform.
Yeah, it's like they like it when it's non-consensual, but they don't like it when it is consensual. Yeah.
Yeah, when a 16 to like 18-year-old is deciding for themselves what is the best thing with their doctor, that's no, they can't do that. But a baby, absolutely chop that shit up. There was also, the fears around the Texas AG requesting a database of transgender people in the state. Don't know exactly where that stands as of right now. And I think Oklahoma HB 1011 was aiming to detransition anyone under 21. So that's going to include some transgender adults. but I think there's a good chance that a lot of these bills, maybe all of them, will fail. Maybe a couple will get some support and pass. It's really hard to say right now, but I think we're bringing all this up just to kind of say that, like, there's a lot that can be done, about this stuff, especially at this stage where these bills aren't being voted on yet. If you live in the states where those bills are being proposed, a lot of the time they will allow people to testify at the hearings of those bills. They're going to hear experts and counter people against the proposed bill. So if that's a thing you are equipped and able to do and safe to do, that's a great way you can get involved in making sure these things stop. But yeah, I think we just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of the landscape going forward. I think there's a lot of really positive things to look forward to for trans rights. I mean, the Republican Party might be kind of fracturing, because I heard Donald Trump flirted with the idea of a running out as an independent third party kind of option, which would be great for Democrats. And Biden has been, although by no means is he, doing as well as he could, he's been doing, I think, pretty well for LGBT people, advocating. And I'm hoping that will continue to hopefully pick up the speed in the last few years of his presidency. But yeah, so I don't know. I think there's good things to look forward to. I'm feeling relatively hopeful compared to how I was feeling at the beginning of this year, which was not so good.
Yeah, and something with all of this, and a reason why we do talk about it is because, like, this isn't a time for us to get lazy and sit back and think, well, some good things are happening, I can stop talking about this. Or coming off of the holidays where many of us may have decided, yeah, well, I'm tired of arguing this all the time, we should just agree to disagree. But there are significant problems when we let people just agree to disagree on what our rights should be. And this isn't something that we should just concede to them. And I know with me, especially, like, I was very exhausted dealing with my family over Christmas. And like, there are definitely times where I just think, well, it'd just be way easier to stop talking about it and to just go about my way and let them think what they want to. But we're seeing the consequences of that. And I think no matter how difficult it gets, we need to provide opposition. So, I mean, the fight's going to keep happening, and we got to do the best that we can to not just, take the victories and pretend like it's all okay.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Okay, well, if you're ready, it looks like we have at least 3 people on the line. Maybe we can get a 4th one. I think someone's getting screened right now. So let's bring in, we got caller number 1, Annie in Illinois. Pronouns are she, her. Annie, you are on the line. What's going on?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I'm really nervous, so I'm going to try not to ramble. But basically, I am a cis woman, and I am bisexual, and I am, I've always identified as bisexual. I have had tons of crushes on other women, but I have never had like a meaningful sexual experience with another woman. Like, it's never felt quite right, I guess. And that changed recently because my current partner transitioned. So when we met, they identified as like as like a gender non-conforming man. And then more recently, they've really sort of identified more as maybe like a non-binary woman. And they've been on HRT. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys this, but HRT changes a lot about a person and the way that they think and the way that they interact with people and things like that. And it's just made every dimension of our relationship so much better. I mean, we communicate differently now. We interact physically differently. We just emotionally, everything is so different. And it's kind of amazing. And I guess where I'm going with this is that even though sexually a lot has changed, also we still have PIV sex, and that still is a component of our sex life that is mutually enjoyable and, brings us both orgasms and things like that. And so I guess what I've been sort of wondering is if I have been, bisexual or maybe even a lesbian this whole time, but with like a genital preference for people with penises. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I guess part of me I'm wondering if it's okay to identify that way, because it feels kind of, I hear a lot about, I've heard you say, for example, like, it's okay to be a straight man and not want to suck a dick or whatever. And I guess I'm wondering if the reverse is still true, and if it's okay to be attracted to women and want to be in relationships with women, but also really want to have sexual experiences that involve penises. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I the way I think about this stuff is that, like, you can exclude any partner at any time, any potential partner at any time for any reason, right? That's like a baseline. Even though we'll have conversations here about like how genital preferences may play into like bias and transphobia and things like that, that is in no way suggesting that people should have to be with a partner with a certain set of genitals, or should not be able to discriminate. Like, I don't want to date partners with this set of genitals. I think it's absolutely acceptable for you to like whatever you like. I think it's worth, when you're in these sort of situations, though, doing a little investigating about, like, why do I have these preferences? Like, where does that come from? Why have maybe had things not been working for you previously with like cis women or trans women who might have like been post-op or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's really ever a reason to, I don't feel bad about liking what you like. I mean, unless like what you like is, obviously violating consent boundaries. As long as everything is like safe and consensual, I think, I don't know, it doesn't, live your truth. Like, you should be able to have the happiest, healthiest romantic and sexual relationships that you feel you want to have. Ben, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that, and I definitely think it is okay to have certain anatomical preferences with your sex life and your sexual activity. 'Cause, like, when we kind of lecture people on trans people in relationships and that kind of thing, it's not because we're saying that you can't have an anatomical preference. It's when people say, I don't want to date a trans person because they reduce the trans person to the anatomy. Like, that's where the problem comes in. So if you're in a relationship with someone who happens to have certain anatomy and you say, I like you as a person, I also like the anatomy that you bring to the table, and they feel the same way about you, like, that's totally fine. Like, you're not reducing the person to their genitals. And so I think that's where a lot of our arguments come in. And it doesn't sound like you're doing that. It sounds like you are happy with the person as they are, as your partner in that relationship, and that's really what's important here. You're not making a case to say that trans people are a certain type of partner because of their bodies, because what happens with that is you exclude everyone that has variations in that anatomy just because they're trans. So I think we're on the same page here, and I think I don't have any problems with this.
Yeah.
I guess a follow-up question, or just to sort of explain why I've been a little uneasy about sort of identifying myself this way, is that, I'm obviously going to, I don't know, I guess I hope to be with my partner forever. But relationships do end, and we are also polyamorous, and so it's possible that I might be back out on the dating market again. And I don't know that I would want to date men anymore. But I also don't feel comfortable, I guess, walking around telling trans women. I don't know how to explain this, but like, I feel like there's like an ethical area here around how to approach this if I were to try to date more people. What are your thoughts about that?
I think what you're talking about is like if you say like you're interested in trans women because like, you know, for the exclusive reason that like you want girl dick or something, right? For lack of putting it more subtly. I can see how for trans women, at least a good portion of us, that might make you feel a little bit objectified or like kind of fetishized or like kind of like it's chaser vibes, right? Like, oh man, this girl's got like chaser vibes or whatever. But
Exactly.
shit, I just pulled my headphones out. But with that being said, I think there are ways to do it gracefully. I don't know if I have like a guidebook or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, treating trans women like just human beings and like women and going on dates with us and making us feel like loved and accepted and like you want us emotionally and like sexually, that just like you would any partner, I think you're gonna find that like, I don't know, you don't have to bring that part unless you're having a conversation about like what do you like sexually, then maybe that's the time to bring that up. But I don't think you have to like start off the conversation with, hey, I noticed you're a trans woman and I really like girl dick, so maybe we should do a thing. Like it's kind of like, okay, maybe don't do it quite so quite like that, but I think you can do it in a way that's sensitive to trans women and how it would make them feel, without making them feel like objectified or fetishized.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, because there's kind of the same thing that happens for trans masc people as well, where like certain guys will be like, yeah, I could be gay for a trans man, assuming that, you know, they're getting certain anatomy to have sex with. I'm like, no, that doesn't mean you're gonna get any access to that either, even if we were in a relationship. But yeah, I think definitely like pursue the relationship first, or pursue the partnership first before necessarily bringing that up. Although, I mean, I guess it depends too on how serious you're wanting this to be. Like maybe if something's more casual, you can talk about it earlier, because I mean, if it's just for the act itself, then that might be an earlier conversation. But for something more serious, probably worth just leaving that for later. I agree with Arden on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I had read somewhere, I don't know if this person was using the correct statistics or anything, but that it might actually be relatively rare for people like my partner who actually, you know, want to use their penis, I guess, for penetrative sex, that it's not super common amongst trans women. And so, like, I definitely wouldn't want to like step all over somebody's dysphoria or make any assumptions about what they want to do or don't want to do with their body. You know, it's obviously not okay to just ask someone what's in their pants, and then it's also not okay to assume that I know what they want to do with it. But there's no social script the way that it is for like dating a cis man, where you kind of know, you know, if they have a penis, that they're probably going to want to put it inside my vagina, kind of thing.
There's ways, I think, to deal with it. And I know that the ways that we communicate within the LGBT community are often different, I've noticed, between like us and in the kind of cis-het community, in that there's a lot of assumptions that are made in a lot of heterosexual relationships, to where they just assume that this is the sexual activity that you want to have. Whereas in a lot of queer relationships, we have to have that conversation of, what are your preferences? How do you like to have this activity? Do you like this at all? What do you want this to look like? And I think instead of going straight to, yeah, like I like this anatomy, like maybe just frame it as an open-ended conversation, like to where you're not just going for that goal, but you just say, yeah, what are your sexual preferences? What do you like to do? Are there things that are comfortable? And what are there some things that are not comfortable? Are there things that you would not want to do? And let them answer the questions for you. Because then otherwise it's like they can tell exactly what your intention is, and it's kind of creepy. Yeah. But if you just treat it like an open-ended conversation where they can say, yeah, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is an absolute no-go zone. And then you can say, here are my preferences, here are my no-goes, and then you reach a mutual conclusion of, yes, this is something worthwhile for both of us, or no, this isn't, and then you move on. But I think there are ways to have the conversation without being explicitly just like right off the bat asking the question.
Yeah, and I'll add too before we move on, Annie, that I was on Beat the Cult, Nikki, who was also on Skeptalk or Hostility this week. I was on her podcast last week, and I don't remember if we talked about this on or off air, so I apologize to Nikki if I'm like divulging things, but I think it's really normal for people who've largely had heteronormative relationships their whole life to start beginning to enter queer relationships and realizing that there is no script. And that does make things a lot more complicated. I know for me, since transitioning, all of the relationships that I've been in or dates that I've gone on with like women and things like that were immensely more complicated and confusing than like pre-transition or the relationships that I have with men now. Just because there's no script, we're both maybe like waiting for some sort of like heteronormative action from the other, and that neither of us receive that, and it's like miscommunications across the board. So I would say like something that might help is integrating yourself a little bit more into like the queer community and like what lesbian relationships are like, and kind of just get a familiarization with like how to establish those conversations. But yeah, I think I'm not sure how much more we can give you, and I'm sure it wasn't like super explicit, but hopefully there was something useful in all of that for you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing your perspectives on this and just getting some more voices in my head as I sort of navigate how to think about all of this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Annie. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Cheers.
All right, first caller. It's a good one. Good one. It was less spicy than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay with me. I know Jimmy.
Wholesome discussion.
Jimmy's starving for the spice back there because I know it makes for good clips. But that was a nice, easier conversation.
Well, we got one in here that is probably going to be very spicy. So.
Well, it would be, but you know what? Let's bring him in now because I know who this caller is, and I don't think it's going to be as spicy as you think. So we're going to bring in Ricky from Florida. Pronouns are he, him. Oh, I thought I hit the button. There we go. Ricky, you are on the line. What's going on?
Hi. Yeah, so where to start on this? Yes. So one thing that like stood out to me recently was how many people, especially of the Gen Z generation, are considered themselves LGBT, and how many of them are in fact trans, and it is a higher portion of the population than ever before. In fact, that when it comes to Gen Z or millennials or whatever, 1 in 5 consider themselves that. But at the same time, we are sitting where trans rights and LGBTQ rights are strongest than they've ever been. There's been much greater acceptance than ever before in history. Where this is happening, where that great acceptance is happening, is in the West, in the United States, and in Western Europe. But it is happening during a time that seems to be the decline of that, and then and some might tie that those might be a decline and go hand in hand with a decline, as let's say China.
Who says that?
As say, well, those who say that, I would have to say that some people hinting at that would be Ray Dalio and the Changing World Order. I've seen some saying that. Well, all throughout Reddit, and it's also just a
because Reddit's a great source of information. So here's my question. So what do you said that there's I'm a little confused about what your exact claim is, because you've said that there's an all-time increase and then there's also a decline. Like, are you saying that these are all happening in the same place, or there's an increase in one place and a decline in other places? Like, I'm confused about how you're connecting these two together.
Well, the reactionary mindset would be that all that newfound acceptance would be something to fear. And I was on Reddit that actually looked at someone.
Why?
at a random post, just saying someone look at what these pseudo progressives want, where 10 to 20% of our children might need to be operated on for their gender reassignment surgery, whether as children or as adults. And that
Okay,
wait.
and
So
that is
so
Ricky,
is having
Ricky-
an op? Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
going to
go
pause
for it.
you. Okay, Ricky? Look, I appreciate that you are a caller who regularly calls in who doesn't agree with all our positions, right? I appreciate that. You are regularly calling us to talk about the truth. But almost all of your calls have been, I heard Ben Shapiro say this. I saw a post on Reddit about this. Well, Jordan Peterson says this. I am going to be honest, Ricky. I don't give a fuck what posts you saw. I want to know, do you think there is a decline in Western civilization and why? And how is that related to trans people? I want you to back this up with evidence. Not, I saw a post on Reddit, not Ben Shapiro said. Why? Where does this come
from? And I want you to just come out with the claim you want to come out with, because I know you're dancing around this, trying to be nice, I think. But I want you to just say what your claim is. Say what you actually think so we can address it. I don't want you to dance around, because we're going to get to the heart of this issue.
Okay. Yeah. Does it ever become a concern? Does does a danger arise out of that?
Does it?
Is it valid? Is it valid to ever? Is it ever valid to get to get worried or even feel fearful?
Are you worried about people that undergo medical procedures for other things? Like, is there a decline in Western civilization because of knee replacements?
There's a decline because our birth rates are lower than ever, which goes into the fear of.
That's
of
not related
theory,
at all
which is
to
not
trans
my fear.
people. That's not at all related to trans people. It's funny when people bring up that argument of like the queer community is a problem because of low birth rates. There are plenty of queer people and plenty of trans people who do have children. In fact, there are many trans men who will go off of testosterone to have children. And then what we see is, I've seen horribly disgusting posts of people saying, look at this trans man. Obviously, he is going to corrupt that baby, and like it's child abuse and all this stuff. Like, do you want us to have kids or do you not? Like, the problem is, there's so many places that I can go with this. But the decline in population is more so related to things like resource availability and finances and other things that are more likely to contribute to somebody's wanting to have children versus queer people and trans people specifically existing. So do you have any stats on that would show that the decline is related to trans people? Because you'd need to make that connection, because just saying that this happened and this is an intuitive idea that I could see leading to it is not evidence. Like you can't just say, well, this is a logic I did in my brain, therefore this is the cause for the decline in population. I need data. Do you have data or do you not?
Yeah. Also, I just need to jump in here because, Ricky, I asked you, this is relating to the I want data things. We're going to get back to that. But I asked you to like make a claim and to back up your point. And your what you said in response to that was, is it reasonable to ever be worried? So you didn't back up your point. You didn't actually make a claim. You just asked a second question. And to answer that question, there is a reason to worry when there's evidence that suggests there's a reason to worry, but you don't present any. You just always ask, is there a reason to worry? You are constantly engaging us in this baseless, reactionary sort of response to LGBT rights, but you don't ever come with evidence. I want truth, Ricky. I want, if trans rights is going to destroy all of humankind, right, then that's probably not a good thing, right? But trans rights isn't destroying the entirety of humankind. Nobody has ever demonstrated that point. And you come in here with things like, is it leading to the decline of Western civilization? First of all, I don't know if the decline of Western civilization is even a bad thing. Second, I don't see that happening. I don't know if you've actually defined Western civilization in any meaningful way here. Like, I need you to give me substance, Ricky, and not just this stuff. So do we have some data, evidence to back up your points? Anything like that at all?
It goes like this. Overall wealth of America and Western Europe, and if you want to go into that, of overall GDP as well as GDP per capita, but also the lowering standards of living, which means more people living, more people being working class or in poverty.
Wait, so are you making an argument that trans people are contributing to the decline of society because of the economy? Are you making an economic argument for why trans people are a problem?
Yeah, but wait, let me actually go to China and to a lesser extent the
how do
Muslim
these
world,
even how do trans people contribute to a reduced economic superpower? Like how does this relate? Like you're making claims and you're trying to back up your claims with more claims.
Yeah, Ricky,
Like,
I don't think you're actually serious here. I genuinely don't believe you're serious because you have. I'm going to ask you again here, okay? For I think this is the third time now, maybe four. I'm not sure. Can you please provide some evidence that trans people, transgender people, LGBTQ people, even I'll make it easier for you, are somehow causing the decline of Western civilization? Can you back that point up? How are trans people and LGBT people related? I don't need to know about China. I don't need to know about Russia. I don't need to know about the economy. Tell me how trans people are declining Western civilization.
In those terms, I don't know, and it seems
okay.
It seems so vague, and it seems so vague, and I'm wondering whether I actually call in confused too, but feel more. I call in. We're wondering about this. Just feeling like the fear and anger more than any true connections, and I'm wondering. Well, okay. Is there anything there? Go.
So Ricky, this is the thing. Okay, look, I'm worried about you, man. Okay, look, I don't know you, right? But I'm a little worried a bit about you, dude, because every single time you call in, it's the same thing. Jordan Peterson said this. It sounds like you're listening to like almost like Andrew Tate or something here too, with the sort of way you talk about these things. I don't know what, I mean, I guess I do kind of have probably a guess at what kind of media you're consuming, but I'm all for discussing the topic you called in today, right? If you can back up the point that trans people are somehow causing the decline of civilization, I want to talk about that. I want to know what the evidence is and why you believe that, because that sounds pretty important. But it sounds like you just heard someone else say that and it scared you, and so you called in, right? And while I can appreciate being scared about a potential bad outcome for civilization, for the entire planet, you want evidence-based reasons to worry about those things? You need to worry about the planet, our climate. Our economy is definitely something to worry about, but it has nothing to do with transgender people. I shouldn't say that. It might have something to do with transgender people, but you have not made the case, and I've never heard anyone make an even remotely convincing case on that basis. So I want you to call in. I want you to ask these questions. I appreciate this, but I really need you to be honest, because a lot of the stuff you call in for, dude, is stuff that could be solved with a Google search. Are trans people causing the decline of Western civilization? What is the evidence? And I mean, we need hard data to justify what a response to that kind of situation would be, which would obviously be serious. You need some pretty hard fucking data. And every single time you call in, after we push you on the data, you fall back on, well, I don't actually know, and I just heard it somewhere and it freaked me out, which I appreciate. That can happen to you, and I do not judge you for getting freaked out by that. But what I am not cool with is how often the stuff is so convincing to you that you call us to make the case as if it were true. You got to do some basic research, man.
Well, and here's something too. I think there's a problem with your thought process, and I think if you go and investigate these issues more on your own, I see a problem here where you are starting with the conclusion. You're starting with, I don't like trans people, or trans people are bad. And then you're going backwards and trying to find any possible argument you can to back up the point that trans people are bad. And that's not the way we should look at problems. We need to first gather the data and then say, what conclusions can we make based on this data? So this stuff isn't intuitive. Like, just because you can logically think through a scenario does not mean that's accurate. Theory is theory for a reason. You cannot act on theory. The theory is there to pose a question that you then investigate. So I think if you reverse your thought process from starting with the conclusion to instead starting with evidence, I think you'd have a more productive time, because then I want to give you the best chance you have to make a case if there is one, right? I want to believe true things as well. So if you find this information and you say, here's the data and here's what I can conclude based on it, you would have a way better time communicating your case, because you're starting with reasons to believe it, instead of just scrambling around for any possibility of why you should believe it. So that's what would convince me. I'm sure that's what would convince Arden as well. So if you came back with an argument that was set up that way, you'd have a way better time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not trying to beat you up here, Ricky, okay? Because I every single time you've called in and we've presented you with information or pointed out where you don't have data to back up your point, you've received that. You took that on and you said, oh, okay, you're right, I don't have data. So I appreciate that. But I don't want you to believe it just because we told you. I want you to learn how to employ skepticism in your life and to learn how to think about these things critically, so that you don't have to call us to know whether it's true. You know how to do the research yourself to figure out whether it's true. And while this show is a resource, is here for people like you to call in, I think you would benefit immensely in your life from employing some skepticism on these claims and really doing your research before you buy into them. I want to give you a chance to say a last word before we let you go, but we're going to move on after this, all right? So go ahead and give your last take, and we'll say goodbye.
Nothing else to say. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ricky. Talk to you later. All right. That went about as I thought it would go.
Yeah.
But I appreciate Ricky. Like I said, he always takes on new information. Maybe a little too readily, but it's all right. So let's see. I want to remind our audience that you can donate a super chat of $10 or more. Also, it helps if you put hashtag Team Arden in. That makes sure that the vote gets through, the super chat gets through, and then we'll read them live at the end of the show. Definitely, we need at least 25 hashtag Team Ardens to keep the show live. So I would make sure you get those in as quick as you can.
That's wrong. It's hashtag Team Venus and only Team Venus. Those are the only votes that will be accepted. So be sure to put those in the side chat.
Oh, sorry. Ben's confused. No, it's just hashtag Team Arden, but thank you. No. Then we're doing should we plug the New Year's stream? We're doing a 5-hour New Year's stream here on the line. Another holiday stream, New Year's Day. What is it, 9 to 2, Jimmy, or something like that? Oh, Jimmy might be away from the computer right now. So we'll update you on that later. Until then, we've got Elizabeth on the line, caller number 2. Pronouns are she, her, from Florida. Elizabeth, you are on the line. What's your question?
Oh, hello, thank you. After that last call, I just have to start by saying how proud I am of the trans community, that despite our very small numbers and how much opposition we face from certain elements of society, nonetheless, we're still managing to bring down Western society as a whole. I don't even know why we're doing it, but honestly, you just have to respect what an accomplishment that is. And the fact that we're able to hide even the ways that we're doing it, it's really... it's unbelievable, literally unbelievable. I literally cannot believe it's happening.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. I mean, I don't even know. Still haven't got anyone to explain how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. So Go us. So, Elizabeth, what's your question? What'd you call in with today?
Really, I called back because last time I called, you asked me to call back because I was talking about some brain stuff, and I know we've got Dr. BS here today to talk. If I may switch up, I kind of want to follow on from Annie because she was talking about something, and it was kind of speaking to me in my own situation, but in kind of the reverse. Because myself being a woman who is a woman, I describe myself as a woman who's transsexual. But as you know, or as you may remember, I'm also Catholic, and the Catholic Church being, having descended from the ancient Mesopotamian fertility cults the way that it does, it's like very specific rules about what sort of marriages I can and cannot enter into, or the people. And it's not based so much on gender, but is based on more, how would you say, private matters of the body, if you will. And what you said earlier about how being in that queer space and there not being a real script, I'm running into situations where that hits home as being very true. And I guess looking for some guidance or some support or something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Is there like a specific situation you need thoughts on, or?
Gosh, I mean, yeah, I just, if it's not being too specific, I guess, there's somebody I met, and we're good friends, and that's as far as it goes. I'm fine with it. But I just can't help but notice that, the first thing I noticed is maybe there's this eye contact that we share, that I don't notice other people, that I'm having that eye contact with other people. And then there were just, little, how do I say this, awkwardnesses in our interactions. And then it progressed to, she would kind of when we had sort of wrapped up what we were doing as a group, she would kind of wait until I had gathered my things together so the two of us could leave together. And so it just started to sort of informally look like there was some sort of interest here. But at the same time, particularly women in general, I feel like are more reluctant to sort of make the first move or do anything too bold. I almost feel like it's a woman who's transsexual. It's even more so that way because, if you do come off in any way as being overly aggressive or overly bold, then it's you're just going to have to face that much more from the haters, and you're playing right into the very sort of things that people show up to their city council meetings to be oh, see, it's a bunch of predators in dresses or something like that. While at the same time, I'm also trying to be sensitive to the fact that she, having grown up as a woman who's cisgender, who more than likely has not been in any sort of queer relationship together, has never been in some sort of queer relationship herself, particularly if she grew up Catholic, and she might be, even if she is considering even if she likes me, even if she's considering that possibility, she's got to be sitting there and thinking, I have no idea what to do here. Maybe she doesn't even know whether she can move forward with it or not. And so I'm stuck in that place of how to have those communications without being, without overstepping. And so just trying to be really slow. But at the same time, I step back and I'm if this was a relationship where I wasn't trans and this wasn't another woman, this was a guy, and I was my own friend, I would say to myself, girl, you deserve better than this. But I'm trying, I don't know that it's she's ignoring me so much as it is that she doesn't know what to do. I mean, she doesn't ignore me, then quit giving me those looks when we're at, choir practice, but whatever. That's the confusion I find myself in.
Sure. So we're having some issues with your call quality, so I'm gonna just kind of reiterate to the audience, the idea is just without giving too many specifics. No problem. So Elizabeth was just mentioning, maybe some like potential awkwardness with a person in her life who it feels like there's maybe something going on there, but it's like not super clear. And I think Elizabeth rightly pointed out, I mean, this has been my experience dating women as a woman, that it's a really, really common thing where, especially with like bisexual women, when you are used to dating men who make the first move, you both just kind of end up sitting there waiting for the other person to make the first move, and so nothing happens. And I don't think this is like a unique to like trans lesbian relationships at all. I've seen memes about this. I feel like as far back in lesbian culture as my little queer brain can remember, that this kind of thing is like a really common sort of trope. I don't really necessarily know what the answer is. I get what you mean with the fear of like, you don't want to be too forward, because then you're potentially like, if you do, take a wrong step, you could potentially be playing into some sort of stereotype or something. But I think, I don't know. I think there's ways you can be sort of bold and forward that are not going to like, if somebody reacts poorly to that, you could handle it in such a way that it wouldn't be your fault or responsibility that they reacted poorly. It would just probably at that point be a result of some life experience of theirs that's informing their reaction. I think it's also worth remembering that, like, well, I also carry all these same fears for sure. Absolutely. I can deeply empathize with what you're going through. You alone are not going to, probably like result in a city council testifying moment that ends up taking trans rights away from everyone in your town. That's probably not going to happen. At worst, it's going to, not land correctly. Maybe you both were misreading what was going on, and that'll just fizzle out there. But I think it's also kind of interesting because in my experience, friendships between women are also a little bit more emotionally invested than like friendships between men and women or friendships between men and men. So it is definitely a difficult space to navigate. And I think probably a lot of people in the audience can empathize with the discomfort that queer people can feel when attempting to navigate relationships together, especially if you have frequented like heteronormative spaces prior to like sort of this relationship. I don't know, Ben, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not a woman, but I don't think that this issue is purely restricted to women in dating. I think trans men especially experience this a lot because we were raised to socially act as women. So in my case, like I've had to work on like having the social confidence that a cis man would have, because I know they're expected to be the ones to pursue a partner, and I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel very awkward in that situation, and I kind of struggle in the same way that you both do in that case. So I've had a few cases where I've just been like awkwardly waiting for something to happen, and I noticed, like, especially for cis people, they're more used to having the man be more forward in that. But I don't know. It feels weird to me. It feels wrong to me. I can't really make myself do that. So it's like, on the one hand, I want to be seen as a man, just like any cis man, but also there's some things within cis male culture that I just don't vibe with me, I guess. It is a very weird thing to try to navigate, and I do think the way we have to approach it is different between trans men and trans women, just based on how we're trying to integrate with society. And I don't have the best answer for the trans guys in the audience, because that's something that I'm working on navigating myself. But
thank you. That's helpful just to get that reassurance. I don't feel like I'm alone. Or like, when you're sitting there and you're just like ruminating on these things, it's very easy to sort of like beat yourself up and internalize all this, especially in current culture where there's like so much hate in a general sense that as of us for trans, you're having to internalize. In the personal sense, when you think about those individual decisions that you're making and you interact with people, it's easy to go like, oh my gosh, I said too much, or I'm being a coward. and what Dr. Venus was saying, I feel like in a sort of reverse way, I experienced that same thing where even though I may be a woman, having been raised to have that masculine boldness, it's like in my gut, there's a part of me that's like, I have no problem with the idea of just like pulling her aside and being like, look, let me lay my cards down on the table here. If you feel one way, cool. If you feel another way, that's cool. Like, it's like my life's not over either way. Like, my self-esteem isn't like wrapped up in your ideas of what you can and can't do with your life or what your interests are. That's all that it is. But I had to sort of intellectually step in and stop myself, considering like, well, what might be the social fallout of that. So what I find I'm having to do is sort of like fall back on stuff I learned in more, how would I say this, in less Catholic sort of period of my life where I'm kind of topping from the bottom, if you will, and sort of like not initiating things, but like doing more sort of like, hey, you did this, and then there wasn't this outcome, and like I'm all confused, and like it's almost sort of like going being defensively on the offense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I think, I don't know. It's I mean, I find like not to mention Nikki from Beat the Cult again. When we chatted for quite a while backstage after, and it always feels really good to me to get to talk to other queer people who are engaging in similar, having similar experiences in relationships where there's like just like complications with it just not being as easy or clear cut for us. And I think it does end up having to be a situation where we do have to just kind of have those conversations where we're like, hey, here's what I'm feeling. The things you're saying and doing are making me feel this way. And if it's not that for you, that's okay. But I just want to know so we can be clear about like what this is going forward. And so there's no like, I don't know, lingering like hopes or whatever. And I'm not like spending all night long thinking about how we looked at each other's eyes for like 10 seconds longer than we normally do. Does that like have some deep meaning? When it might just be like, they're like, wow, like your eyes look really pretty today or something, like who knows? Yeah, I definitely, I don't know if I have like strict advice, I guess, but just, I definitely empathize with you. And I think it is a really normal LGBT relationship experience to just feel a little bit confused and kind of like, I don't know, like it's unclear exactly the path forward. And I think community with fellow LGBT people is probably one of the best ways to navigate that effectively. But we are going to have to let you go, Elizabeth, because the call quality is really causing issues. But I appreciate your thoughts, and I hope you do call back. I don't know if you're doing calling through the internet or if it's on your phone. Maybe try whatever method you're not using today next time and see if that works better. I think if you listen back on the recording, you'll be able to hear why people are like, what's going on? But yeah, we appreciate your call, and I hope we get to talk about the male and female brains soon too.
Hey, amen. Thank you. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
I'm back at this computer since you were mad at me.
Okay.
Arden's been messaging me a lot of really mean messages about not being available, and
I called him some slurs.
I was doing chores downstairs, so I have my downstairs computer also remoting in, but I don't have a microphone, so I can do everything except talk to you. Yes, this 9 p.m. Central Time this Saturday is when we'll start the countdown to New Year's 2023, and we'll take calls and argue with people or talk about people's New Year's resolutions, which totally work, all that stuff.
Lovely. Awesome. Well, okay, so you should definitely be there for that. I'm sure you're going to see probably a good chunk of your regular The Line cast members, for lack of a better word, on the show. But until then, we have Wes is calling back, and her pronouns are she, her today. So Wes in the UK, you are on the line. What's going on?
Good afternoon, Arden and Ben. I just wanted to ask you, quite simply, what makes anyone trans? Now, you always say there is no right or wrong way to be trans. So how would you actually know if you were?
Hey, Wes. What makes anyone's favorite color blue?
I don't know. That's a bit of
How do you define liking the color blue? Is there a right way to like the color blue? Are people who only like royal blue qualified to like the color blue? Where's the line on that? You don't have any clear definition, so how can you say anybody likes the color blue?
That's not really what I'm asking, because you state that you're this is just a philosophical question now. I'm not attacking you individually or personally.
Nobody thinks you're attacking us.
Because basically,
no, I'm just giving you an analogy for a reason, because this discussion, taking this so nebulously of what makes a trans person is a lot like asking somebody like to define why their favorite color is blue. It's like something within the human brain does not align with what their body is, and we don't quite know exactly what makes somebody trans, and we might not ever know. But the point is, the fact that we can't necessarily point to one thing doesn't mean that it's not a real thing. And so this is why it's kind of ridiculous to ask that question at all, because hold on. If you're gonna come in and say that, well, you're taking this philosophically. Well, that's what your question is. Your question is attacking this from a very philosophical standpoint that we don't necessarily need to go to. So if you'd like to take the conversation somewhere else, you can reframe the question and try to point to something else specifically. But
if I could just come back on that, because the bottom line is, I've just asked the question, and all of a sudden you've just gone onto a completely different. You got off on a tangent.
I responded to your question, Wes. Yeah. Wes, no. Here's what I did. It doesn't sound relevant because I'm pointing to you because the way the question that you pose sounds to me is a lot like the way the question I pose to you sounds like. Because I know that as a cis person, you would not understand why this question sounds the way it does to me. So I'm trying to make this make sense to you. So if you'd like to engage with that, I'd be happy to engage with you there. But don't say that I'm going on a tangent when I'm trying to engage with your discussion point in a way that would make sense to you.
I've just asked one question, and you've just gone off, and you just
given me
Wes,
this is our show, Wes.
All right,
if
Wes,
you don't
I
want
muted
my
you.
response, you can leave.
Yeah, Wes, I muted you because you know what? You came in and said, "What makes anyone trans?" And Ben responded with a philosophical question in turn to point out the issue with your question. If you don't like that, then you can fuck right off. We don't need your call here, right? Okay. But we want to engage with you. So Ben is trying to point out a gap in the framing of the question to begin with. He's not ranting aimlessly. He's not pulling it off topic. He's trying to point out an issue with your reasoning and framing of this question. Now, would you like to respond to Ben, or are you going to make another like a baseless accusation that Ben's rambling in an unrelated way? Okay, you are unmuted now. You can speak.
Yeah, so certainly I'd like to respond because I've just asked you a very simple question, because the reason I asked that and framed it in that way, because I would personally believe there's no right or wrong way to be a man, and there's no right or wrong way to be a woman. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I would agree.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. If there's no right or wrong way to be a man, and there's no right or wrong way to be a woman, bearing in mind there are 8 billion people on this planet Earth, okay, so I would assume there's 4 billion ways of being a man and 4 billion ways of being a woman. Would you agree?
Wes, you're so close to the point.
Yeah, I know the point you're getting to, Wes. I know the point they're getting to. And this is an argument that we've heard incessantly. Wes, be quiet. Wes, be quiet. Wes, be quiet.
You're very presumptuous.
Okay, yeah, wait, Ben, do you know how Colin suits? Because I'll mute him.
I do. I can, but I just like to yell at him. So I'm going to tell you what I believe your argument is going to be, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. How's that?
You're a mind reader, Ben. Go on. You know me more than
so here,
you know me more
Wes,
than
you act as though I've not heard these arguments before. So I'm gathering that your argument is that because there are so many different ways to be a man or a woman, and there isn't a right or wrong way to be a man or a woman, why can't you just be a masculine presenting woman? That's where is that where you're going with this?
I'm not necessarily saying you have to be masculine presenting or feminine presenting. The bottom line is I don't believe in gender. So you can present how you want, you can dress how you want, you can have.
That's fine, but here, Wes, here's the problem with this. Here's the problem
with you're a man or a woman.
No, okay, you're using a genderless society as an excuse to invalidate trans people, and here's a problem with that because the utility of that. No, here's the problem, because if you say, well, just gender doesn't exist, so you can't actually be trans, it poses a problem for the utility of why I would say I'm a trans person. So the reason why I say I'm trans is I don't want people telling me I'm a woman. I don't want to engage with society as a woman. I want my body to be that of a man. I want my hormones to be that of a man. So from a standpoint of utility, if I said, well, I just don't have a gender, like that's fine for some people, but for me, it does not allow me to engage with society the way that I want to engage with society. So this is the best way for us to communicate that I want my body to be this way. I want to be seen this way. So whether or not we can debate whether gender exists all you want. But the point is, I'm going to exist in this way, and Arden's going to exist in the way that she wants to exist. So this is kind of taking a utility argument and making it philosophical to invalidate us. And I know you're claiming that that's not where this is going, but that's inevitably what happens when you make this kind of argument.
Hello? Normally you can't help interrupting. Where'd you go?
I'm still here. I'm just that every time I've tried to push the discussion back to where I want it to be, you take it somewhere else, because I'm not trying to invalidate anybody. I'm just saying there's 4 billion ways to be a man and there's 4 billion ways to be a woman. I would just say it's just personality at the end of the day. So you can be exactly how you want.
I just told you this is where you were taking this argument. This is the argument I was addressing, and now you're claiming that I'm not addressing the point you wanted to address. I addressed it, and now you're changing the argument around. You're changing the argument around just so that you can be right, and so you don't have to engage with the problems that I told you were there. Do you want to engage with the problems that I mentioned, or do you want to avoid them? Because if you want to avoid them, you can just hang up, because we're going to address this.
I can engage with it, and I can give you my.
Then engage with the point.
I always seem to think you're in attack mode. I'm not attacking you. I'm just asking a question, and you go straight into attack mode. Like you're just so defensive.
Do you know why? Do you know why I'm in attack mode, Wes?
You tell me.
Do you know why I'm here?
About me.
Wait, hold on. No, I'm gonna mute Wes and take over this conversation for a second, because this is hilarious, right? Okay, Ben just went, Wes, I just addressed the problem with your question before you even asked it. So would you like to address the point? And instead of addressing the point, he goes, you're always defensive. Like just literally doubling down on exactly what you just accused him of. I mean, I couldn't have written that script better if I tried, Wes. That was artful. I am amazed. You honestly deserve like an Emmy for that performance. That was 10 out of 10.
So can I'll reframe this. Wes, I will give you the benefit of the doubt for the second. And I will say, what is your purpose for framing the argument the way that you did? Why do you care if it's a personality trait or if it's people labeling themselves as trans? Why are you making this argument?
Did I speak?
Yeah, you can speak.
Yeah.
But you can only speak if you're going to address the point. Why are you making the argument?
Why am I making the argument? Because obviously it's one of the defining issues of our time, isn't it? And I'm just looking to find out why there is such an explosion in people saying they were trans. For example, in the UK.
And why do you care about that increase in number? Are you, because from what it sounds like to me, it sounds like you're going somewhere else with this argument. You want something to happen because of this argument. What do you want to happen because of this argument?
If I can just, because I'm just trying to ask, why is there such an explosion in the numbers of people who are trans? If I just talk about the UK, for example, at the moment, we have a lot of teenage girls who are presenting as trans. Now, if being trans, it's basically your theory of, I'm not, please don't, take this as if I use the wrong terminology and expressions, it's not an attack. I've not planned anything. But from what I've seen, it seems to be that if you're trans, anyone could be trans. Now, if that is the case, now in the UK, for example, we've got something called the CAS report, the interim report, which came out a few months ago. Now, teenage girls are predominantly likely to be presenting as trans. Why is that? Now, if it could apply to boys equally, why is it predominantly girls? Why is it predominantly people who are autistic? Why is it predominantly people who are same-sex attracted?
So, have you ever heard of Wes? Do you know what correlation means? Do you know what a correlation is? Can you tell me?
You tell me. You seem to know everything about me, Ben. You tell me.
Yeah. So a correlation is when data seems to follow the same pattern, right? So if one group of people increases, and also this other group of variables increases, it's a correlation. They're trending the same way, but that doesn't mean that there's a causal relationship. It does not mean that there's something unique to this relationship. Like there's this website even that I love to use that has like bad correlations, like where they tried to relate the consumption of margarine per capita related to divorce rates in certain country. They followed the same exact pattern. They both increased. But does that mean that the divorce rates are related to per capita consumption of margarine? Or do you think those are unrelated variables that just coincidentally?
And I'd like to build on that. I'd like to build on that because even if it wasn't a correlation, it's a causation, right? That autism has a high risk of comorbidity with gender dysphoria. So what? Are you suggesting that autistic people are incapable of making their own decisions or having self-determination? Because I have a psych degree.
No.
Wes,
Wes,
you cannot shut the fuck up when someone's talking. I'm going to mute your ass every time I'm talking now. I've worked with autistic people a lot in my career, and I can tell you what, even my most nonverbal, most significantly impacted clients were more than capable of understanding what they wanted and what they needed at any given point in time. This notion that, oh, wow, girls are having, according to you, are having a higher rates of being recommended for care. That's not the same as receiving care. And autistic people are receiving gender-affirming care. So fucking what? Prove that it matters that those things are correlated. Because so far, people are you're just seeing things happening and trying to make something out of it like a fucking gender astrologist. There's no gender astrology to be had here, Wes. Even if you're right that autism is all of these girls getting treatment are autistic. So fucking what? Okay, now you're unmuted and now you can talk.
So, bottom line is, Arden, you might not care, but there's people in the UK health system.
Nope, I'm gonna mute you. I said, oh my God. You think I don't care? About what? That autistic people need treatment? Look, nobody, oh my God, this is, I'm like actually so fucking triggered right now. This is insane. The fact that I just proved to you or made the case that it doesn't matter if autistic people are receiving gender-affirming care at higher rates, then you said, well, you don't care. That has nothing to do with what I said. You are just trying to frame it as me being some like heartless, I don't care about autistic people or something. That's fucking dishonest, Wes. And my patience is running really thin on you. So I'm going to ask you again, so what if autistic people are getting referred to care for gender affirming care at higher rates. Prove that it's bad, or I'm dropping you right now.
If being trans should affect the whole society in equal proportion. So if it's men and women...
Why? Tell me why.
50-50.
Why?
Well, the reason why, if autistic people in the UK, for example, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but if autistic people are in the UK at a level of, say, 1% of the population, and the amount of people who are presenting as trans is 50% autistic, do you not think there could be something going on here? Or do you
there
just
may be
dismiss
a
that?
correlation, but why does it matter? That is my question. Why should anyone care? Do you think autistic people are not capable of understanding themselves?
I'm not saying that. You're trying to twist what I'm saying. I'm just saying
I
a
asked you
certain
a
category.
question, Wes. Why should it matter?
It does matter because
Why?
if a certain
I don't
section
care
of
that it does.
society-
I asked you why. Tell me why. If the next words out of your mouth aren't, it is bad because reason, I'm hanging up. Tell me
because
why.
they are being overrepresented in the stats.
Why does that matter? That is
why.
not an answer to the fucking question. I understand that you think they're being overrepresented. I asked why that matters.
Because, as I said before, you said there's no right or wrong way to be trans. Now, what if these people are not right?
That's not an answer to my question, Wes, and so you're gone. Goodbye, you dishonest piece of shit. Try calling in again when you can actually answer the fucking question you're asked. Sorry, I didn't mean to commandeer that so intensely, but oh my God, I worked with so many autistic people, and it is so fucking triggering to me to hear someone make the argument that autistic people are incapable of understanding themselves, or like they just see a trend and they just have to go inject themselves with hormones. That's fucking disgusting and ableist and shitty.
I think you and I both had rants throughout that call, and
Yes.
they were all completely warranted. Oh man.
Oh my God. So
Got
anyway,
angry, both of us.
yeah, no, I have not been that mad at Wes at all yet. That is the most angry I think I've gotten on this show. That's absolutely fucking disgusting, Wes. And if you call back again, never bring that argument. Or if you're going to bring that argument, I want fucking data. If you come in with just some vague gestures that autistic people can't understand themselves, you will be banned from this show permanently. That is absolutely unacceptable. Okay. Any thoughts before we take this last caller?
No, I think we touched on everything. That was a problem with that.
All right. Steven, I apologize. You're getting two very heated up people right now to come into this conversation.
Okay, I'm just scared now.
You what?
I'm just scared now, but it's okay.
Okay.
If you come into this conversation, if you come into the conversation nicely and we can have a discussion, I promise we will not be angry at you. We're plenty capable of having a nice discussion. But oh yeah, the margarine. Yeah.
So yeah, I promise this will be nice, or hopefully better. So my question was, where does transphobia come from? And I want to break it down a little bit. So I can deal with, I'm an LGBT person as well. I'm on the spectrum. I consider myself demisexual, pansexual. But I can deal with phobias or questions or even anger or whatever from ignorance. But I don't, when it's somebody who should know better, I don't understand where it comes from. And what I mean is, a religious person will tend to look in whatever their holy book.
Oh, Steven? You might have hit the mute button with your cheek on accident? We lost you there. I've done that so many times.
Okay. Can you hear me
there
now?
There we go.
You're back.
I got
you. Okay. So I don't know where I left off. So I can handle when people just don't know and they ask questions about things. But when it comes to trans issues, I've run into such vitriol that I just don't understand where it's coming from. Whether it's been some of the callers you've had today or people in my own life, that it shocked me because it was a gay person spouting off. And I've heard it. What I was saying, I don't know when I got muted, I can handle it when it comes from a place of innocence, ignorance, when there isn't rage behind it and you can have a conversation. But when there is rage behind it, I just don't understand it no matter what reason I'm given, because it doesn't make any sense. So my question to the two of you, in your opinion, because I'm assuming you've run into this. I'm hoping you've run into it very little because I admire what you both do. And I don't want to make this sound dismissive. I don't care if you're male or female. How you present yourself to me is how I'm going to treat you. And it seems so simple. It doesn't seem like it's anything to be afraid of or anything to be mad at you about or any of that. And so I have a real hard time getting my brain around it. So I wondered what you've encountered as the top reasons people are angry or fearful or put off or whatever it might be, and how you cope with that level of aggression. Because like I said, when it's ignorance, you know, as the person I am, my ex and I, just a quick story, because why not? My ex and I were talking about having a baby, and I mentioned it at work, and my coworker, who was from a secluded part of Michigan originally, said to me, well, how is that going to work? And I joked and I said, well, he keeps inseminating me, but he doesn't get that that's not going to work. And everybody laughed. And he's like, no, seriously, how are two men going to have a baby? And I said, well, there's surrogacy, there's adoption. And he was like, they let you do that? I'm like, yes. You know, we had a conversation and it de-escalated. But with the stuff I hear about trans people, it just so confuses me. And as a non-trans person, I don't know how to respond to it. I want to be a good ally. So I'd like your advice and your feedback on what you deal with most and what's the best way to deal with people like that.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, what I notice a lot of people struggling the most with, I think it definitely stems from a lack of education, but I think it more so comes down to the fear of uncertainty and the fear of not knowing something, especially because people view science and gender roles and gender in general as being black and white. They have this idea of this is the way the world should work, and they're very content with this because it's easy. It's easy to think about the world in black and white. But the problem is, the more you learn about the world, the less black and white it is, and the more shades of gray you get into. And it throws pretty much everything into question. Once you start getting to that first question in the gray area, everything else starts entering into the gray area, and you're no longer certain about what is the absolute correct answer. And the truth is, like, there probably isn't an absolute correct answer. But people like to have confidence and they like to know what's happening. And the fact that this throws everything into a state of uncertainty is very difficult and very scary for people. And I think a lot of people take it in a less productive way, where instead of trying to learn more about the nuance and being excited with the potential to learn about these areas of uncertainty, they just kind of run away from them. I think that's part of it. And then I do think that part of it is related to misogyny. I think a lot of transphobia comes from misogyny. And the black and white idea that anyone who is perceived to be female is lesser than someone who is perceived to be male. And this is something that goes even like beyond misogyny. We saw this with race issues. We still see it a lot with race issues, but even within the medical field, this was a problem in the antebellum South with the concept of slavery was justified due to medical literature that was like fraudulently published. And so people will do anything to hold on to these biases. I think it's a combination of both of those, but I don't want to take up the whole show, Arden.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. The only thing I would say different is maybe like patriarchy instead of just misogyny. But I mean, it's like they're all interplaying with each other. You know, I mean, misogyny is informed by the patriarchy. So I don't know. I think that's a big part of it. I think there's also a lot of like, at least when it comes from like transphobia in the LGBT community, that comes from, I think, a place of like people who I think saw that they got up the social ladder, they got out of maybe direct harm, and rather than, you know, say, well, I'm not satisfied yet. My brothers and sisters in the queer community and non-binary siblings in the queer community, they have not gotten equality yet, and there's no justice until there's equality for all of us. They said, I got mine. I'm going to pull the fucking ladder up behind me and throw bricks down with all these, you know, cis-het normative people, because that gets me a safer place, or so they think. I think there's kind of a similar dynamic too, as we see like the rise of like fascism in the US and a lot of similar first world countries. I think there's a lot of people who the bigotry is a lot of reactionary stuff, and wanting to be a part of the in-group, but I mean, and I think that's also all informed by patriarchy and misogyny as well. So I don't know. There's so many reasons why somebody could find themselves holding on to transphobic beliefs. I think it's kind of hard not to when you grow up in our society. I think when you are LGBT, there's a greater chance of you having to confront the root causes and kind of pull them up and to take those out of like your mental space altogether. But not everyone does that work. I don't think everyone can do that work necessarily. You know, I think some people, it's so deep in them that they don't know what else to do. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. I'm sure we could spend like an entire show just speculating on the reasons why people become transphobic or homophobic. And at the end of the day, I don't know if it's always so important to me as the why. I mean, that is important, but it's more of like, what can we do to help them let go of those beliefs, or you know, what can we do to make sure that even if those people have those beliefs and they're vocal about them, that it doesn't impact, you know, the potential for LGBT people to get a job and housing and all these things. Yeah, it is an interesting conversation. Don't get me wrong. I just think I try to focus more on, I don't know, like solutions kind of thing, like the direction we can take things going forward. But yeah, it is an interesting conversation. I don't know if there's any one answer. I'm sure the chat's probably got like 100 answers too. Yeah, I don't know if that was helpful at all, Stephen.
Yeah, no, it is. I guess, you know, with the homophobia, I've had to confront that. And I've also been able to turn people around and say, when they say, you know, we had discussion about same-sex marriage and so forth going back over the decades, because I'm old, that, you know, I could say to them, I'm a taxpayer. Am I not entitled to the same rights? I've had people say, well, which rights do you want? And I'm like, all of them. Why do I have to pick out and say, why can't I just be treated as a person? And yeah, I've been able to make headway because they know me, they're part of my life, they supposedly care about me and all of those things, and I could use that, but I'm not a trans person. So when I'm having these conversations, it's been kind of weird actually from my LGBT people who like take me aside and are like, yeah, you're really vocal about that. Do you know what you're saying? And I'm like, yeah. And what's wrong with you? And they're like, well, I feel this way. Like I'm a safe space for them to express their bigotry suddenly. And I'm like, no, go away. And I have ended friendships over it because they've been so vitriolic, or they put on a public face one way and are just so brutal. And I suppose I agree with both of you, on an intellectual level, understanding where some of these things come from. It's just combating it is really the hard thing. And I appreciate you both being out as trans people, because, until a certain period of time ago, that wasn't always, we didn't always know. And there was this idea that trans people wanted to pass, but you guys don't have to address that. But, it was the idea that we're surrounded by trans people, just like we're surrounded by lesbians and gays and bisexuals, because there's more to us than that. We just should be allowed to exist. But it's harder as a cis person to have these conversations because I'm not living your experience. So that was why I asked the question. So thank you very much for taking my call and providing your insight and your perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen. I appreciate it. It was a thoughtful conversation, and I appreciate that you're out there having those conversations with people. I think that's a lot more than a lot of cis people are doing. So we appreciate your steadfast allyship, and we hope to hear from you again.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. Bye. Okay. So I think my blood pressure might be back down to normal levels. So we are going to move on to
I have to do a punishment.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Ben has to fucking take
isn't it part of the? Aren't we doing it as part of the chats? What do we do?
Yeah, we are. But I'm getting it ready to go because I looking forward to this.
So we need chat participation. We need the next punishment for Ben and I here, and we need you to send in your votes. So any super chats, $5 or more, with hashtag Team Arden. That's how you make sure those votes get in, and we will read them out live here on air for everyone.
So Jimmy, what were the specific rules for when I have to eat a new warhead? Like, how is this working?
I think we should do it every time there's a super chat of it at least $10, and there's already a few.
Oh my god! Okay, well, I might get through this entire bag of warheads. We'll see.
Yeah, so you can suck on one until the next $10 one comes.
Unless you start having like convulsions, don't hurt yourself.
Okay.
Okay, go on. I did just in an email tell Wes to go fuck himself. If everybody wants to know what's going on my end.
It's really frustrating because we don't have a lot of gender critical callers. I would like Wes to call in more, but
not when he's gonna behave that way. So for the record,
no.
I didn't just randomly email him and say go fuck yourself. He sent an email because we've been emailing back and forth about him being unbanned from the live chat, and I've legitimately gone and checked the list like 9 times, and I cannot find Wes in the ban list. And I even had him send like a screenshot of his username to make sure that he wasn't doing something stupid and sending me the wrong thing. And I just can't find him in there. He isn't seemingly in there. So then he and he already was responding as though like he was like emailing again like I've messaged you a bunch of times. Am I just shouting into nothing kind of things as though I'm not trying? And then most recently he goes, I'm sure if I super chatted €100 or £100, I'd be unbanned immediately, which sort of implying that I'm lying about trying to unban him and that I can't find him. So that's to what I said. Go fuck yourself. Now at this point, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, Wes. Yeah, no, I haven't gotten that heated at all on the show. I think I've gotten pretty close, but I think that was the most heated I've ever been.
I'd say today was the end of
pure rage.
Today seemed like the end of Western civilization.
Ba-da-bum.
That's a callback.
That was a good one. I appreciate that.
I love how proud you are, Jimmy.
I do have a little bit of bad news, though. Wes has something of a point because 100% of the current producers of trans call-in shows are autistic.
Yeah, of the many that we have.
Of all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know of another one in existence besides ours. And
yeah, so. Jimmy, how does it feel to know that you are incapable of determining your own gender, and the only way you've determined your own gender must be, of course, according to some social influence or something along those lines?
Obvi.
Yeah. Gotta be painful. All right.
This one's for $10.
God damn it.
Are you starting with a
Alright.
blue?
No, this is a green one.
Oh, watermelon.
Oh, it's green.
It's green, but it got ruined by the green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got looked blue. That's funny. All right, $9.99 from another Arden. I'm applying to grad school and hope to focus my doctoral research on the effects of the university policies on the undergrad experiences of trans students. I'm thinking of focusing on housing policy. Ooh, that sounds so interesting. Wow, I'm sure that'll go a long way to helping a lot of people.
Wes also
I
sent
heard-
an email that starts with, after your call, Jimmy, tell Arden. And I'm going to explicitly not ever tell you what the remainder is.
Yeah,
Just
Wes,
to annoy
since I know
him.
you're listening, I hope that the rest of your life feels like you're sucking the fart out of the sweatiest asshole you could ever find. That's how I feel about you.
I hope it always tastes like the 14th warhead, as we'll probably see tonight. How that feels.
Anyway,
I hope
thank
you
you,
all are gonna
another
love my
Arden. That was
faces.
great.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So don't take my facial expressions as me not being grateful to the super chats. Like, I literally just cannot avoid making these faces.
The worst part is another Arden, instead of sending one $20 with the whole thing, sent two $10. So here's the second half. Go ahead and go ahead and get sucking.
Do I add
Okay.
these to the one I already have, or do I have to
Nah, you can
get
spit
rid
it
of
and
this
do a
one?
new one.
Okay,
You don't
well,
have to-
I mean, it's lost its sour, so
Yeah, just
it'd actually be.
It's up to you. I don't care. You know,
I got a jar.
you don't need all
A
that
little
sugar.
sound. Oh my
That
God.
sound is pretty great. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want to read it, Arden? Read the rest of it.
Yeah, $9.99 from another Arden again, but I would love to know your thoughts on what policies need to change in order to improve the student experience for trans people. Would love to hear from folks in the chat too. Thanks. I think this is really as simple as like, let people be housed in the dorms that they feel like most appropriately reflect their gender, assuming that we're talking about like gender segregated dorms. I don't know that it really has to get more complicated than that. I don't know. The only other thing I can think of is along these lines would be like some sort of test, but I hate that idea. That sounds terrible, and like it would be immediately used to just discriminate against people who like don't pass or something. So yeah, I think just saying like, what is your gender identity, and then sorting your housing according to that, or like what housing would you feel like would make you most comfortable, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I agree.
This one's only $5. You're saved for a moment, Ben.
Okay. $5 from James Call. Whoop whoop! Congratulations! Hashtag Team Ben. There we go.
Wow.
Votes on the board, people.
I never
Love
know
that.
if
Thank you,
whoop
James.
whoop
Oh.
means whoop whoop or whoop whoop. You know, like the police sounds. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also,
I've got
definitely.
Abigail still on here. Let me
Yeah, I was
fix
gonna
this.
say it's Team Abigail down there. Okay. Man, Ben, you were taking those like a champ. I'm like, there's no squinting, no wincing. Like,
there's
Oh, I
only
was
two.
the first. Yeah, the first second it goes in, it's miserable, and then it gets less bad after that.
Well,
Okay,
get
okay.
another one ready because you got $10 from a Meet Matthew.
God damn it, me.
love the Espeon plushie in the background. Thank you. But I gotta vote for my bro. Hashtag Team Venus. Wow. Thanks, Amit. Yeah, no, Espeon's my favorite Pokemon, even though I didn't use him in my Scarlet Violet run, which, by the way, I've decided is the best Pokemon game ever. I finished it the other day and I cried so fucking hard. It's amazing. Top tier Pokemon game.
Team Venus. Also, watermelon's
Fucking-
rough.
I love
Two
watermelon.
votes for Team Ben? What the hell's going on?
It's good, but it's a strong one. 5
Would you do
pounds from
the-
Sean Isherwood.
Go ahead, sorry.
8 perfect riffle shuffles of a 52 card deck, bringing the deck to its pre-shuffle order. Also, congratulations, Ben. I'm not ready for math today, but that's a cool fact, and thank you.
Arden, would you do if you lose, would you do the Warhead Challenge next time?
I'd probably do the Warhead Challenge. I think I'll have way more dramatic reactions than Ben will, but I would do
Okay.
it.
And then I think for Ben it'd have to be, if you lose next time, it'll actually be number of, because did you lose against Katy or did you win?
No, I lost against Katie.
Okay, so you already
I
have to eat the
I-
Weetabix.
Yeah, I already have to eat Weetabix.
Oh,
Dry
God.
Weetabix.
So we could
Dry
do like
Weetabix.
we could get you like one of those little what are those tiny spoons used for? You know what I'm talking about? Like those small, and we could do like a hot sauce challenge next time.
Oh, I could
I
do a
love
hot sauce
spicy
challenge.
food though. I'm that's not much of a punishment though, because I love hot sauce.
So we get a really fucked up one. Or we
Yeah,
get you
I'm a
like
glutton for punishment. It's bad.
get you like a cascading one that gets like you got like 5 levels, so it's like if the first 3 are like
Yeah,
Cholula, and then we work our way up. Tabasco. Then like
I also think there should be a punishment that's a prison burrito. Somebody has to eat a prison burrito.
what's a prison
Oh
burrito?
God. Okay.
It's where you take ramen and you crush it all up, and then you crush up either Doritos or Cheetos or both, and you add that to the crushed up ramen, then you pour water on it, and you roll it up and let it sit for a little bit, so it's just like a congealed log of ramen and Dorito powder, and
Yeah.
then you eat it. It's like all salt.
Did someone already read Sean's chat?
Yeah, we just read it.
Yeah.
Sean, I'm actually going to tell you, I'm disappointed you shared this because there are magicians who actually rely on this. You know that? There's some, because they're magicians who can do the perfect riffles. Anyway, you sort of ruined magic for a lot of people today. Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, Sean. $10 from nice $10. Let's go from Tiffany M. Happy New Year! Thanks for always helping me learn to be a better ally and for all you do. Looking forward to more awesomeness in 2023. Me too. On the line and show hashtag Team Dr. Venus. Hashtag sorry Arden, I love you too. No. No thanks. We appreciate you, Tiffany.
Did you put your third one in?
This is number 4.
Did you put your fourth one in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, apple is the worst one so far.
I think blue is supposed to be the most sour.
I only have 1 blue in here. So
They do that because
Nice.
it's also people's favorite. So you'll buy another bag. They give you the least of the favorites. Anyway, here's €5 from Mismatched.
and this is me. €5 for Mismatched. Thank you for this year of TACIS. Happy New Year, and I will always support my trans sisters, so hashtag Team Arden.
Yes,
It's
thank you,
hard
Miss
to
Match.
read with
Finally.
my tongue getting more and more numb
Yeah.
as this
Yeah.
goes on.
Have we
I'm
ever
sure.
addressed
Sure.
Have we ever addressed the irony that we call it TACIS all the time, that the abbreviation has the word cis in it?
Oh,
Have we ever
yeah.
addressed that at all?
Nope, never been. Nope. We're almost at 2 years of this show now, and it has not been addressed.
Interesting. We're not the smartest bunch, I'm realizing. We really aren't.
Speak for yourself. I'm very smart. I've got very big
I'm about to
brain.
graduate from med school, okay?
I think Canadian dollars count.
10 Canadian from Unsapien 2009. Annie, you should be who you are. It's society that's artificially
Come on, Ben.
and what artificially. And while I was typing this, Ben said it. Hashtag almost Dr. Venus. Wow, Ben is also. I have a vote here.
Ben, I think I need to see you unwrap it. I think you're just putting them back in.
No, I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, these ones are really, really sour. That's the like dark red one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Though each one's going to be more sour than the last because you're ruining your deal.
Jimmy, I appreciate how invested you are in Ben, but I'm pretty sure it's 1v4 on the votes now. Not that I want to give Ben an extra vote, but
Oh, I need to give Ben another.
yeah, and you didn't give me my one for mismatched.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Thanks for keeping
Should
track.
be.
I'm having too much fun watching Dr. Venus ruin.
I
his
do
pop.
understand. I do. There you go.
Am I reading this? $5 from Aubrey. I'm stealth at work, and if not for one hyper-religious coworker, I'm confident and want to come out for the positive visibility. Thoughts? Hashtag Team Ben. Thank you for the Team
God.
Ben. And it depends on what you want to do. Like, don't come out just for the sake of positive visibility. Like, do that. Like, that should be an additional benefit if you want to come out, but don't make activism the only reason for doing something. Like, take care of yourself, live the way that you want to live, and then if there's activism with it, cool, but don't sacrifice your well-being for the cause.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, I've tied so much of my life to this stuff here that it's like difficult to kind of just like do normal stuff and like be stealth in certain spaces now. And I kind of regret that a little bit. It's nice to be able to like not have to be like a trans person all the time, like a representative of the whole fucking community. But if you feel like that's a thing you're willing to take on, absolutely do. I think it feels good to not have to hide things. I get that. But I agree with Ben. Let it be a little bit more of a this is what you really want for you kind of thing than necessarily it's all about activism or visibility.
Oh, I'm safe again. Yes. Okay.
€5 from Yasmin Meadowflower. If you live on Pluto, your birthday is every 248 years, and there is no mayo production on Pluto. This is a description of eternal suffering. # Team Mayo. Is that eternal suffering? I just think you wouldn't live to see a whole year, right? And
yeah,
it'd be kind of sad to go where there's like no mayo. Like I always say, I'm not crazy mayo, but I want to have garlic aioli on my Impossible Burger from time to time. Thanks, Yasmin.
Wait, so who does that point go to? Because you both.
That's me.
That's Arden.
Okay.
I'm Team Mayo.
Okay.
Also,
I'm Team
Yasmin.
Ranch, so yeah.
Yeah, Yasmin watches my Twitch. I'm sure they watch everyone's Twitch, but you know, I'm claiming them as my supporter to make sure that vote goes to me.
Guess what?
Thanks, Yasmin. $10.
Here, I will unwrap it up here. Here we go.
Thank you.
God,
we know how crafty you are.
I'm a little bit afraid to do this challenge, not gonna lie.
Watch the face.
But I'll
watch
do
the
it.
Face. You okay?
Wait.
You all right?
You think you can read this one, bud?
Yeah.
Or you need me to do it?
I got it. $10 from Corey Springer. It's like, this sucks because like, it's hard to talk now, and I have to swallow like every like word. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy holidays to you too.
Oh, I love it. It's so funny. It's not going to be funny when I'm suffering.
Oh, no, you're going to have a blast.
Because right now, we are behind Team Arden. Come on, this is New Year. What are you doing? Give me the Christmas gift of winning.
You know what's really funny?
Give her the Christmas gift of warheads.
Yeah, seriously, everybody, please get your. We have to hit 25, and I really, really want to see Arden have to do this next time because Arden's faces will be. Ben's too like stoic. Is that the right word? I think that's right. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if I know what.
Yeah, I know he's holding it together pretty well. I'm like impressed.
You know what's really funny? When
What?
people send a $10 super chat with no message. Thank you, Rebecca.
Oh, amazing, Rebecca. Thank you.
All right, it's another lemon one. Here we go.
Ben's gonna be like in the ER later tonight, and it's all our fault.
A reminder to everybody watching it: there has to be a combined. So to vote and get a score on the board, you just have to do at least $5 with hashtag Team Ben or Team Arden or some hashtag that is obviously one of them or the other. So it could be Venus or Mayo or whatever. But if we
Has
don't
to
have
be a hashtag.
the only way, we haven't decided what Ben's punishment is because frankly, I only want Arden to lose because I want Arden to have to do the Warheads thing next time. But right now there has to be a combined score of 25 or nobody is punished on their next meeting. So
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fear Factor. I mean the Transatlantic Call-In Show.
Oh, I can get roaches. I think you got roaches.
Oh, we have a lot of roaches. I'm not eating a fucking roach. You saw me try to knock them into the bucket, into the tub.
You wouldn't even touch them. Yeah.
Nah. €5 pounds, not euros. £5 from Dizzy Spook. Hashtag Team Arden. Thank you, Dizzy Spook. I appreciate you. Dizzy Spook's always in my Twitch chat. You're the real one. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe you should read this one because I have to do another warhead, and I have
Okay.
to say that these are definitely getting worse as it goes. Like it started off as not that bad of a challenge, and it's just getting so much worse with every consecutive one.
Oh my god, the jar looks nasty. The little collection. 10 Canadian from Jess Blake. Runaway capitalism with increasing wealth gap and more power in the hands of billionaires is destroying society. Anti-trans bigotry is a distraction easily absorbed by the unskeptical and unfamiliar. Yeah, I wish I was more fluent in like economics and political stuff because I know a little bit of stuff. I'm not like when somebody's talking about like the downfall of the economy, like I'm not able to be like, oh well, this is actually the reason why, so it would be nice to be able to articulate that more towards those points. So I appreciate the contribution. It means a lot, and hopefully Ricky, if you're still watching, that's something you can look more into.
I don't know if I can even comment anymore.
Your tongue's starting to fall off. Well, that's too bad because another $10 from James Call.
I'll carry it on my back. Don't you worry, Ben. I got this. $10 from James Call. I would have a beer with #Ben as just two dudes hanging out.
That's a team Ben.
Hell yeah.
Sure. Ben has a beer or more on his Twitch chat pretty regularly.
We do that. I do.
You can go join.
Oh my god, this is getting so bad.
That's too bad because Ramona just sent $10.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I'm just gonna since I haven't finished this one yet, I'm gonna keep it in until it gets sour, but I'll add in until it gets not sour. No, I'm gonna add another one to it. I'm gonna add another one.
It's up to you. You're like, I want all of it. All right, whatever.
I want all of it because you know what? I'm not a wimp when it comes to these challenges.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do it for real or I'm not going to do it at all.
Okay, I got you. I hope you have enough warheads because there's quite a few.
I might not, though. I might
you
not.
Might run
I'm
out.
running. Yeah, no, I only have 4 left after this.
We probably shouldn't have admitted that yet.
$9.99 from Ramona. Gender astrologist is the name of my thrash band. #Team Arden. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's funny.
We'll keep score of how many more you go beyond, and we'll add that onto when Arden's doing, if Arden loses, when Arden's doing hers.
Oh my god.
Yeah. If we go beyond, because we do have yet another $10. Do you want me to start going? You want me to help? Arden and I can alternate while you keep numbing your tongue.
Yeah.
$10 from Aubrey. Am stealth, want to come out at work, but hyper-religious coworker ranted about kitty litter. Oh no, says both sides. Groom kids in different ways. Oh no, want to be positive plus visible, but nervous. What do?
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, you don't feel like you have to come out to like change this person or whatever. But I think if you do come out, just kind of being around these people makes a big difference. I know a friend of mine has a conservative dad, and she recently had a trans friend over while this guy was over, or while her dad was over, and he was like shocked that trans people are just people. And it's like that genuinely just existing in the same space as people, so you're not this abstract thing you hear on Tucker Carlson, does make a big impact on people. But again, prioritize your safety, your comfort, your preferences.
I do want to say to sorry, I'm not commenting on the thing, to people in the chat. Shit, I lost. For the record, Arden has to lose to have to do the warheads.
Right.
So you have to
vote for Team Ben.
Vote for Ben if you want Arden to have to do this next time.
So clearly you want to vote for #Team Arden to make Ben suffer. I feel so bad for Ben.
Hang on, let me convert these Swedish kroners to tell you whether or not this yep, that's the $10. There you go. It's another one.
Oh my god. 100 Swedish kronas from Peter Flemberg. That rage was refreshing. #Team Arden. Well, I'm glad you liked it, because it definitely was not planned or anything like that. It just fucking Wes said the stupidest shit he could have possibly said. It's so frustrating, because there's a really interesting conversation to be had there. How does anyone know they're trans? what makes someone trans. There's a really interesting conversation to be had there. But rather than be like, you know, oh, of all these possible candidate explanations, what is it? He has to go down this fucking stupid route of, well, autistic people are trans more than non-autistic people. So that means that it's bullshit, or it doesn't even make sense. There's no through line to the point. And it's just fucking ableist and transphobic all at the same time. And I thought Wes, I mean, his snarky laughter, the she, her pronouns, like, I can tolerate a little bit of dishonesty to get to the point. But yeah, no, that triggered a much deeper rage in me for people who are going to do something like that. Autistic people are not tools or pawns to win your fucking shit bigoted arguments.
$4.99 from Catholic Tutor. Forcing Catholic churches to hire LGBTQ personnel or sue them denies our right to exist as a faith-based organization. Equality goes both ways.
Well, I think that depends, right? Like, are you talking about like hiring like parishioners, like people who work solely through the church, or is this like a state job that you actually pay taxes on? Because then I think that changes what the rules are.
Yeah, I just love any religious argument where they're like, give us the right to discriminate, and by the way, we exist right now because of benefits that we get from the taxes of people who we discriminate against. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Fine, but
Yeah,
pay taxes and take no exceptions. That's my solution.
I think the thing also is the same thing when people say like, you're forcing us to use the pronouns of, or something like, you're free to discriminate against employees if you want. But what you're not free to do is avoid the consequences of those actions. So if you want to be a bigot, go for it, man. I'm not trying to, I don't give a fuck what you want to do with your life, but I'm also not going to advocate for a lack of accountability for your actions being immoral.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
$9.99 from TV Goat. Oh, you want to do this one?
No,
you gotta eat it.
No, I'm just saying I got two left. I'm saving the blue one for the last one, so it's gonna be the most miserable out of all of them.
Okay. $9.99 from TV Goat. Thanks for your stand on autism with Wes. I have an autistic son, first time listener. Thanks. Absolutely. I did not expect to come out of this episode today as championing autism rights, but I'm happy to do it because that was some real fucking bullshit.
My tongue hurts so bad.
$5 from Pragma TV from my GC mom. If gender is imaginary, then surgery is unnecessary and invasive risk. Why is it okay for 13-year-olds to get double mastectomies? You know how those are happening all the time.
Yeah. So those are
sarcasm.
almost never happening. In the very, 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 very few instances where that might happen, it is almost always something that, for example, when Kim Petras, who at the time, I don't know if this is still true, was the youngest person to get genital surgery. She was 16 when it happened. That was decided as acceptable despite what the law was, which was you had to be 18, because her and her doctor and her family all consulted and agreed that waiting longer was going to cause substantially more risk to her well-being and health than allowing her to access that surgery at that time. And Kim Petras is now a healthy, happy, successful individual. In the very few select instances where someone that young might get a mastectomy, it's almost always going to be because that person probably had, went through puberty young and had particularly dysphoric inducing breast development and has agreed with their doctor that it would be more damaging to their health in the long term to wait than to get it now. Because also gender is imaginary is not, when we say gender is a social construct, it does not mean it's imaginary. That's a misunderstanding of what a social construct is.
So I do want to comment a little bit on that one. So I do, for my residency research, I want to do something studying the effects of delaying transition, and then hopefully look at like risk factors associated with delay, and then also potentially figure out a way to risk stratify people to see if we could have a tool to say, does this person need earlier transition versus can they wait. I think it might help us out. We'll see what happens with that. I can read this one. 5 Canadian from Aaron, hashtag Team Venus.
I see why you wanted to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worked up the energy for the Team Venus.
That's
Well, I got one left.
$5.
$5 from Nathaniel Stevenson. Thank you.
And then we've got, get that blue one in there. All right, Ben, I got to ask you this question. How clean is the jar you've been spitting all of those into, besides the candy in it?
It's clean, except for the candies. Yeah.
My question, the follow-up question is if somebody donates $100, would you after this blue one, would you put the whole jar in your mouth of candies?
Well, none of them are sour anymore.
There's a sour core to all of them. At the very center, there's a little bit more powder. And I think we want to see you try to eat the whole jar at one time.
I can't fit those in my mouth. I would choke on them. There's like over 10 in there.
I could fit 10, but I got a big mouth.
I'm a smaller person than you, so
will you chew them all up in some?
I'll put them in smaller amounts.
We'll make it as
amounts.
many as you can at a time, and we'll make it fit. If somebody donates 50, you'll clear the jar. Yeah.
Okay, $20 from Summer. Arden, your advocacy for autism is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's funny because they want to see you lose. You're getting compliments, but without votes.
Yeah, I know, right? Everyone's like, I really liked your rant today, but I'm going to vote for Ben because I want to see you suffer.
Like this one, 10 from Vespas, Arizona. Steven in Arizona. Team Ben. That's right. Okay. $5 from... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm used to doing it
from
on
Nathaniel
the
Stevenson. Love the show. Stop picking on Ben. Hashtag Team Ben. I figure out Super Chat today, by the way. Awesome. Glad you figured it out. And I think we talk about this a lot, but it's like a thing with the Line family that I think we all kind of like bullying each other as like a love language. I feel like it's how we express our appreciation for each other to make fun of each other. So don't ever think that any of us are actually like picking on Ben because we're like trying to haze him or any shit like that. Like, this is all stuff that we're all just doing for fun, being silly.
Have either of you watched the show Community?
No.
No, not really.
I'll give you like the 2-second. There's a video. There's an episode where the doorbell rings and somebody has to go and get the pizzas, which are downstairs. So it's like an apartment thing. And one of the guys grabs a die and he's like, all right, starting on my left, 1 through 6. If it lands on your number, you go. And what it turns out has happened is the reason he set up that system is there were 7 of him. And so no matter what it rolls, he wouldn't have to go. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm enjoying reading some of these live chats as people are starting to figure out, Jimmy's figured out a system where he comes up with pretty great punishments and never has to do any of them himself. And I see you all closing in on it. It's a pretty great system. I like it.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way to get Jimmy punished on Transatlantic.
All right, I'm going to start keeping score of how many warheads you owe us on the next one. And then if somebody donates $50, Ben's going to clear the jar.
$9.99 from Louise Richardson. Hashtag Team Arden. I'm a native Austinite. Yeah, hashtag Austinites. We love it.
Whoop, whoop.
Austin's pretty awesome.
Make sure you come to one of our group activities. Our meetups.
I don't know if Louise Richardson's still in Austin. I think she's told us she's moved away since, but native Austinite. But if you are still around, definitely come.
Was there a vote? Yeah, Team Arden. Okay, let me put that one on the board. Okay, here's the next
We're at 17. So what? That's 8 more votes?
Oh, man. €5 from Akko-chan. Hashtag Team Arden. Trans girl from west coast of Ireland. Watch the show all the time.
Trans grill?
Trans grill. I wonder if that's a typo?
I think this might be an iOS problem.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be trans girl from west coast.
Trans girl.
Of Ireland.
Makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a trans grill, that's cool too. Whatever. Whatever. Thanks, Saka-chan. Canadian, $10 Canadian from Atomic Dracula, Team Venus. But Arden, you're still great, really. There's no hashtag there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Atomic Dracula. We appreciate the thought, but
We said it at the beginning.
system. Yep.
No
Has to
hashtag,
be
no
a
vote.
hashtag. Oh, $4.99 from Rose.
$4.99.
Okay.
I got it. $4.99 from Rose Northcott. Hashtag Team Arden. You just wanted me to read Team Arden.
I did just want you to read the Team Arden. That's true. Gamer Grill. 5 from Alyssa Nguyen. Also, Alyssa, I don't know if you were at the Christmas show, but apparently Jimmy got an email that somebody was mad that
So
you had told
angry.
us that Nguyen is not how you pronounce
So
it.
I think the thing that, because there was a follow-up email, and it was more that the rage came from that it was adopted as universally true. They felt, this person felt that we took one person's word for it, and that was totally, whatever. They were mad.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, absolutely not. If somebody tells me their name is Nguyen, I'm going to call them that. But Alyssa said that's not how you say her name. So
They were saying, because our conversations had been, how do you pronounce that last name? And they felt that it was that the one answer was adopted as the right answer, and they were very, very angry.
Yeah, no, not at all. I'm so sorry someone thought that.
I feel like, never mind. I was going to make a joke that I'd have gotten roasted for. Go ahead.
One of my favorite acronyms from my Navy days is ATQF. Answer the question fully. Hashtag Team Feline. Sorry, Ben. Felines forever. Trans girl stereotype. I got 2 felines. Felines plural is me, right? It's got to be me.
Yeah, that's right.
Did I just take the lead?
We're tied.
After all of this?
Tied.
Oh, we're tied. We're tied. Okay. Ben's been ahead of me the whole time.
$9.99 from Ramona, bumping it up to up the number. I cannot speak anymore because of my stupid mouth. Make Ben have another warhead and give hashtag Team Arden another vote since she did ice Wes hard.
So Ben
Thank
currently
you.
owes us
Appreciate
4 warheads on the next show, just so everyone knows.
Wow, poor Ben. We could just. Oh, I feel so bad. $5 from Blue Cat 42. Any good suggestions for an ASD NV getting more involved in the community? Also, hashtag Team Ben. Getting involved in the community in what sense? I mean, there's so many ways to be useful in terms of activism. I mean, if you're like more intellectual, philosophically based, doing stuff like this, having conversations with people, doing arguments on like TikTok or Twitch or YouTube is great. If you want to
But
show
not
up
Twitter.
and be another, what?
Sorry. I said, but not Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's some good voices on Twitter, but like very, 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 very few out of the whole.
Fuck Twitter.
Being another body at like a protest is great. Like we talked earlier at the beginning of the show, when they do hearings for all of these bills, if you are in that state and you want to go testify, I think that's an awesome way to be involved. Yeah, there are so many ways to get involved and represent yourself more. Definitely, I don't know if I have any specific resources though. I would say really think about what you feel like your strengths are and how, and just kind of like Google around. There's going to be tons of ways that you can apply your skill set to activism.
Meetup is starting to pop off again too. It's starting to get more popular as people are trying to find communities as the COVID social fatigue wears off. It's starting to pick up again.
$9.99 from Rowan Mooney. Hey, combat vet / trans woman here. I wish we could celebrate each other's successes more. We've all been through it in one way or another, and yet here so many of us are. Courage comes in all ways. That's awesome. I'm not a combat vet. I am in the Army, so thank you for your service, and love to chat sometime about that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Rowan. $5 from Quagma TV. Hashtag Team Ben. I forgore. Autism lets me see how rules are. No reason why I can't modify body or change name / gender if want to be comfy in my body. Absolutely. I was going to go down one route, but I'm not going to for optics reasons. So thank you, Quagma TV.
Do you need a token friend to give you permission?
No.
Okay.
This is about I deserve to like change my body if I want to. That's something I definitely agree with on like a philosophical level, and I really love talking about. But there's conspiracy theories from gender criticals that are like anti-Semitic as fuck out there around that conversation, and so I'm trying to be really careful about how I talk about it.
Ben, are you already clearing the jar?
No, that was one I was already eating, but I can.
No, not yet. Well, wait till we get to we want to see you try as many as you can once we get to we did get a $50 though, so it's happening.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Did we read that last one before this?
Can you show us your tongue? Nice.
Wow.
It's blue.
It's flaring.
I don't think we read this one, no. This is a vote for
this
you.
This one's yours.
$10 from Nathaniel Stevenson. My first message was supposed to say #Team Ben, but I was figuring out how this whole thing worked. Please let Ben off the hook for this one. #Team Ben.
It's all
I
good.
only get one vote.
Only needs 2 votes to win.
And Ben
Was
just
that
got
one
another
yet?
vote because we ended the poll and it was real close. It was 51% to 48%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
For the record, so my tongue hurts, but like my parotid gland hurts.
Which
is
everyone knows what
weird.
that is. That's the
Yeah,
good thing is how
right
which is
here.
what?
Oh man, we all
right
know the
here.
parotid gland.
I get it now. I've had the sores back there from sour. I get it. I just didn't know that's what it was called.
Well, it's like the salivary gland works so hard, it's like actually like inflamed right now. That's hilarious.
I was gonna say I get like smile sores there. If I smile too
Yeah,
much,
me
I'm not
too.
a very smiley person, I guess.
20 Canadian from Unsapien 2009. Okay, SDB, what's gonna be your new tag? TDB totality Doc Ben?
I think it's just gonna be Dr. Ben. I think I'm just gonna keep it simple.
I like it. Dr. Ben's pretty good.
$9.99 from Airplune. I had a snack. It was a half a lemon with a hard peppermint stick in it from a concession stand at my school basketball game. It turned my tongue black, so be careful, Dr. Venus. #Team Venus. What?
That's alarming.
Why half a lemon with a hard peppermint stick? Is that the next challenge? Like,
Why did it turn black? I feel like that means you had some sort of like bioactive film on your tongue that reacted with like you might have had a colony of something in your mouth at that point too that reacted.
It's just Pepto-Bismol. It's just covered in Pepto, and that's.
But there's no Pepto here. It's lemon. You're
No,
saying
maybe there's
maybe
secretly
it was-
Pepto.
But why would that make it black?
Oh, because it's bismuth.
Oh, okay.
So this is TMI, definitely TMI. But
Should
like we
Pepto
get a lot of
be
people.
black?
Well, no, it's because the pink in it ends up turning black. So we get a lot of people at the clinic that complain about their poop being black, and it's because they had Pepto. Like legit, this happens regularly. People have this complaint.
so funny.
Like, no, you're fine. You're fine.
Is Pepto artificially made? Well, I mean, I get why they'd be freaked out because that you're all you're ever told growing up is go to a doctor because black means blood. You could have an ulcer or whatever. But
yeah,
is Pepto naturally pink, or do they make it pink to make it more like you can think more? You'd want to drink it more.
I'd have to look into it because I think it would naturally be colorful, but I don't know if they add anything to make it extra colorful.
Big
But yeah,
Pepto.
it's fun stuff.
Do you remember when stupid people were drinking black water and they thought it was better for them somehow, and it just is nothing? There's like no difference. That
Like the
black mineral
charcoal water?
Oh.
It was,
Yeah,
I don't even think it was
yeah.
charcoal water. I think it was a different mineral besides charcoal that turned it black.
Okay.
There was
definitely
a
don't wanna-
brand.
You don't want to intake too much charcoal. You don't want to upset your
Yeah.
pHs.
There was a brand
yeah.
called BLK water, right? It was like
Yeah.
black water, but without.
yeah.
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 I remember that.
Yeah, it's funny stuff. Anyway,
Thanks,
here's the
everyone.
$50. €50, even better.
50 euros from DIY
right.
Patrick. #Team Ben. Also, wait, didn't Ben already hit 15
do
with the
that
last
now.
one?
No,
And now
Ben-
he's 16.
Ben's now got 15.
Oh, okay. Thank you for everything you do here. Oh, I want to see you suffer. Good luck. I love our audience. You know, it makes me feel like we've really done a good job communicating our personalities when our audience also likes to bully us as a sign of affection. I'm like, man, we really did good.
Is it bullying if you ask for it? I feel like there's an entire world of kink that would disagree.
Yeah, probably not. It's you know,
at most,
whatever.
this is community BDSM.
Community BDSM. What the fuck?
Hurt me because
I'm just
like
cosplaying as my hamster right now. This is what this is.
How many you got in you?
A lot. I don't know.
How many are left?
I'm not actually counting.
How many are left in the jar?
There are 6 left.
Okay. How many were?
Those
How much
cheeks are-
was the total package? How many were in the total package?
I don't know if it says an actual number or if it's just a weight. It just says. I don't think it says how many were in
I
there.
feel like it's usually 15, which would mean you have 8 in your mouth right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
can totally
'cause you
clip
ate
that
one.
out of context, and it'll be
Yeah.
just clip out the fact that I have 8 in my mouth right now. Yeah.
Puffy
Yeah, yeah.
cheeks.
Bismuth
Okay.
subsilicate is what creates the pink color.
Yep. Yep.
Wait, not
That's the
silicate.
active ingredient.
Salicylate.
Salicylate.
Salicylate. Okay, there we go. It's been a long time since I've had to know how to say these things. Keep chewing them. Crunch them up. We want to hear it on the mic.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to read for me because I can't read anymore.
That crunch was
666
actually the
from-
sound of Ben's teeth because of all the candy he eats. Breaking.
666 from Johnny Rapine. I say wear cat ears to work and put a litter box in the bathroom. Petty beats bigotry. What?
I think he's
Dr.
saying
Ben
as
Medicine
revenge.
Man. Okay, I'm so confused, but sure.
I think it was in response to the person asking about bigots at work. And the person, because the chat had mentioned something about bigots at work, saying that, bringing up the cat argument, that stupid thing that one politician brought up, that,
Right.
schools are wanting to put kitty litters in for them children that identify there as a kitty cat.
Right, which probably is not actually a thing, and it's probably like there's a teenager who's a femboy who like wears cat ears, and they're
Sorry,
like,
look at
"You
Ben.
identify as a cat?"
Look at that.
Oh yeah, the cosplaying as a hamster was an apt description for sure.
It's beautiful. The way your head came back to prepare yourself for the sour bite through, I assume, is what was happening. Is any of it zinging you? Are you getting it on the tongue at all, or is it not too
my
bad?
tongue is just constant pain.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, yeah. This is a fun challenge, definitely. And the best part is how is it gonna feel for a couple days probably. This isn't isolated to now.
You've lost your sense of smell. You could probably use that to get out of work if you wanted. You could say, "Hey guys, my sense of smell's gone away." They'd be like, "Oh, that's a sign of COVID. Don't come in." By the way, you owe the audience 9 warheads.
Another 5 from Melissa. What even is universal? 1 meter equals 1 over big number. What? TH? The distance light travels in 1 second is a construct. I'm a little bit confused as to what exactly that means. Hashtag Arden, by the way, uncensored. Answer the question, fucker. I'm a little bit lost, Alyssa, but yeah, answer the question, fucker.
We want to answer the question. What is the question?
What even is universal? I think this might be related to something to Wes about but I really don't know. Universal. Did that come up at any point?
I feel like it's somewhat philosophical. This is the most recent chat that's come in. So saying so it isn't a construct that light travels a certain amount of distance, but certainly it's a construct what we've determined, or so to say the amount 1 second, even what we describe 1 second as, is technically a social agreement construct, you could say. So like everything about this is there are physical facts in it, but what we use to define those facts are constructs. And so I think this is like a philosophical sort of response to like the phrase when somebody says something is universal, that nothing's universal because everything's a construct. If you just found aliens in a different part of the universe, they'd use totally different constructs to describe things. I don't know, maybe something like that. That's the best I got.
Maybe. I'm not sure. You want this one, Ben, or are your cheeks still too full?
I'm allowed to put the next round in, so probably I can read it before I do that.
Okay.
$4.99 from Stacy 1904. Great show today. Hope you both have a happy new year. # Team Ben. See, I'll read it just for the Team Ben.
Of course. Thank you, Stacy. I hope your mom's doing good.
Ben's gonna try and hit me up for workers' comp.
Yeah.
Nobody appreciated my Stacy's mom joke, but it's okay.
Stacy's mom.
I'm too busy suffering. Thanks.
It's for the good of the channel, okay, Ben? Come on. $20 from Weird Ernie. I had a question that's maybe better suited for a call, but I was getting my hair cut through most of the show. Maybe next week. Ben's awesome, but # Team Arden. Oh, okay. The way it was phrased, I was expecting the question to be in the super chat, but then you just started talking about getting a haircut, so I got really confused. But yeah, definitely call in if you have a question that's a little bit too complex. Alyssa's super chat was about the pronunciation of her name and universal acceptance. Yeah.
Got it. That's when the word universal came in. So I think I was right about the philosophical universal point that was being made then. That it's all a construct and subjective. Anyway, I have an idea.
You have an idea?
Ben, you owe the audience 10 warheads. You should be. Because here's the thing. You've just done 15. So what's 10 a week or two from now? That'd be like nothing, right? So alternatively, what if instead of it being a week from now, you have to bring those 10 to the New Year's show when your tongue will be raw? It'll be like trying to heal, but not ready for more.
I don't know if I can get them that quickly, though.
Oh, Ben, I'll get you the warheads. Ben, you send me your address. I'll get you the warheads.
This is oppression.
I don't know. I'm just saying. 10 after you've already done 15 sounds so but 10 on an injured tongue in 2 days? That sounds pretty funny to me.
I'm going to be drunk, so I won't even remember it probably.
That's fine.
Do you all like the ASMR, by the way?
I loved that part. That was my favorite part.
Okay. Well, we will figure out exactly how that's going to work another time. But that was the last super chat, right? So
yes.
Thank you, everybody, so much for showing up to this episode. Thank you to, of course, our mods who are clearly always putting in the work. Thanks to Jimmy for producing. Even though we like to bully you, we do appreciate you. And thanks to the audience for showing up to watch me scream at West today. I hope you guys had an awesome show. And I hope you all are ready to make me suffer with the Warhead Challenge on the next episode Ben and I are on together. So it's been real fun, you guys. But we are out of here. We'll see. Oh, thank you to the screener too.
Wait,
thanks, Jimmy. I really
sent
appreciate
you the name because we're trying to encourage the screeners to want to screen more, so I'd never have to. So we're saying thank you to the individual screeners now.
Yes, that's totally fair. I did not see this message till now. Thank you, Ilya, who's also a mod in chat, for screening today. We really appreciate your help. It is seriously a massive, massive help to us making this show possible. So. Again, thank you guys so much.
But
we've had fun,
but what about that? Another super chat.
Another super chat. I was like, Jimmy, I swear to fucking God. 999 Airplane. Keep up the good work. Between this show and secular sexuality, I've been able to address the patriarchal conditioning I didn't even know was affecting me. Keep fighting the bigots. # Team Ben. Thank you, Airplane. Now, again, thank you, everybody. It's been a real fun show. Poor Ben is suffering with his hamster cheek stuffed full of sour
There's no more in there. Like, this is literally just swelling in my face now.
Oh no. Okay. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it. It's been real fun, and we'll see you all next week.
Oh wait,
Bye.
two more things.